Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Food Enthusiast. I'm Dara Bunjon, PR maven, author, food stylist, and frustrated baker. Today's guests are David Dopkin, managing member, and corporate executive chef Brigitte Bledsoe of Miss Shirley's Cafe, a coming together of two families linked heavily in the Baltimore food scene. I want to welcome both of you to the show.
Hi.
Thanks for having us, Dara.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So I'm going to be switching back and forth, jump in. When we have two people, sometimes it becomes, I might forget one, so if you want to say something, just jump in. David, tell us more about Miss Shirley's, how it came about. You opened in 2005. It was your father, Eddie's idea, but give us more of an idea about Miss Shirley's Cafe.
Well, at the time, my father operated two restaurants on the other side of the street and had limited parking. And he saw the opportunity to come up for this spot on West Cold Spring Lane in Baltimore. And, you know, we couldn't afford just to have a parking lot, so we had to put something in this building that wouldn't compete with our lunch dinner businesses across the street at the time. So he said, you know, why not, let's open up a breakfast spot. And he put an ad in the city paper at the time, and it was titled "Looking for the World's Best Breakfast Chef." And I'd be darned if we didn't find her. I mean, Bridget's creativity and talents,
right?
You know, in 2005, really, you know, set the way for, I think, a lot of other brunch restaurants in the industry. She's just very creative with the presentation and flavors and quality of our dishes, and we expanded to the other side of the street to a larger location, and then later to the Inner Harbor in Annapolis, and soon to be at BWI.
Right, Concourse A, right?
Yeah, you got it.
I am so thrilled that is that going to be a sit down with tables? Yes.
Yes, and full bar.
And full bar.
Mm-hmm.
So will you have the same menu there that you have at your other restaurants, or is it a little bit more limited?
It's a little bit more limited, but all the house favorites and everything that, you know, everyone always wants to come in for Miss Shirley's will be on that menu.
Okay, so what are the house favorites at Miss Shirley's?
Oh.
Chicken and waffles.
Shrimp and grits. Crab cake Benedict.
Fried green tomatoes. So what's interesting about the BWI location is it's going to open earlier because it's open for the first flight out each morning. So our other locations open up at 7 during the week and 7:30 in the weekend. So BWI will probably be open closer to 5, even earlier, and then it will stay open, you know, for supper and late night snacks because it stays open till the last flight comes in. So we think that a lot of our Southern specialties really lend themselves to dinner as it is. So guests, you know, coming off of a late flight or a delay can enjoy Miss Shirley's at BWI.
Oh, my friend Jeffrey already spoke. And he says, Miss Shirley's Concourse A. That's Southwest. Yay. I'll be there.
We're happy to serve you, Jeffrey, in the summer.
Because there really isn't, you know, I usually catch like an early morning flight, and there really isn't anything there other than getting a Cinnabon or something like that, or a donut. And it's nice to have something of quality. And, you know, you were talking about plating. Your plating has always been gorgeous. You know, we eat with our eyes as well as our stomachs. So, you know, I love supporting our local restaurants here. Let me ask you a question, Brigitte.
Sure.
Okay. How did you interview with Eddie? I think this was very interesting. Weren't you on crutches?
Yes, I was. I had just had foot surgery. And I went into my interview on crutches, and, you know, Eddie's like, well, you know, how do I know you can cook? And he's like, I can't have you in the kitchen, and in the kitchen at Classic Catering, you know, on crutches. And I said, okay. I said, come to my house. So I made 10 to 15 items at my house, and he came over, and majority of those items are still on the menu.
Now, you grew up here in Baltimore, yes?
Born and raised, yes.
Okay. So where did this penchant for Southern food come from?
I'm not really sure. It's just always been, you know, one of my favorite, you know, types of food. I just love, you know, the fried green tomatoes and the grits and, you know, everything and fried chicken and all the seafood that, you know, is also incorporated in Southern dishes. So it's a nice mix between Maryland and Southern food.
Well, you have the crab cake. You can't deny that on the menu either. David, let's talk about the restaurant being there now for 15 years. You're coming up on a big anniversary. Do you have anything that you're going to do to celebrate?
Well, you'll be the first that we'll share it with. Dara.
Okay, everybody, don't tell anyone. This is a secret.
In May's actually will be the 15th year anniversary, but we're celebrate all year long, and we're going to give our loyal guests that are either part of our loyalty program or do some contests on Facebook and to other social media outlets, and we'll be giving away a lot of chicken and waffles to our guests throughout the year. In addition, since food allergies are near and dear to our family's heart, and we take it real seriously at the restaurants, we are going to donate books. It's called Austin Allergies to every Baltimore City public school and Anne Arundel County public school for their libraries, so children can learn a little bit more about food allergies and their peers. And we thought that would be a nice thing to give back to the community of the areas that support us throughout Maryland.
Well, Miss Shirley's always supported all the local charities. I mean, your name is synonymous. Okay. I can't talk. So forget it. When we think of Miss Shirley's and the classic catering people, we know that they support the community. One day I'll learn to say that word, but it's not going to come today. Your mother, let's talk about this. I said it was a dynasty, classic catering people, your family. Harriet, your aunt, is president of Classic Catering. The Little Green Trucks people, if you haven't seen them, they're all over the city, and they cater. I think, didn't they do something? They go over to Washington, too, don't they?
We've done some inaugurals in Washington and a lot of other galas throughout Maryland, Virginia, D.C., and Pennsylvania over the years.
Been there for a number of years. So we talked about your family. Let's talk about Brigitte's family and the family legacy. Brigitte's mother is Suzanne Loudermilk, who was the food editor for Baltimore Magazine and food writer for the Sun papers 2 times. She was there, went to Baltimore Magazine, went back, and now she's teaching, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
And let's
Towson
talk about,
University.
and her mother was very much co-author of the new book that's out there, The Lost Restaurants of Baltimore with Kit Pollard. So there's a legacy of both of you bringing to the table and being together. And the fact that you've been with Miss Shirley's for close to 15 years. How did your passion for food start? Did it start with your mother?
Definitely. It started when I was very young. I used to pull out all my mom's cookbooks and go through them and say, I want to make this. And she would go and get the ingredients, and we would either bake together. By the way, I'm not a great baker either. We would bake together and, make simple things from the cookbooks. And from there, it just became a love for me and a passion for me. And to the point that, my parents thought I was in college, but I wasn't. I was working full-time in a restaurant.
Here in Baltimore?
Yeah, Ocean Pride.
Oh, okay. That used to be a hangout for my husband, may he rest in peace, but they'd go there for happy hour. So who knows, maybe there was a crisscross there. Didn't you go to France with your mom?
I did. We spent 2 weeks in France. We were 1 week in Paris, and then the second week in Burgundy, where...
You went to La Varenne.
La Varenne, yes.
Okay. Now that is Anne Willen, may she rest in peace as well, headed up to school, and she did classes at the Greenbrier. I actually won the Greenbrier classes through Gourmet Magazine.
Oh,
but
wow.
that's another
Nice.
story. But La Varenne has turned out Stephen Reichlin from Barbecue USA, Primal Grill, Fire, and Smoke, and his books. Let's see, who else? I can't think of her name. There's a number of them that have come out of there, but because Stephen Reichlin is a Baltimore boy.
Okay.
But he's had huge success. So there's been a number of people that have come out, and that's a great school. And I think they moved it to California for a while, but everything's shut down now that Anne has passed. But
It was an amazing experience, and not only was it knowledgeable, learning. I mean, we learned how to make croissants. We learned how to make dishes.
That was baking.
I know that was baking, but I had a lot of help. So, and then in the evening time, they would take you to 3-star Michelin rated restaurants, or even a 4-star. So the food, best food I've ever had. I can't.
But there was nothing Southern there.
No, there was not. But
it was still great.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so what would you say the philosophy of Miss Shirley's is?
We're Southern inspired, eclectic, upscale casual, breakfast, brunch, and lunch, with influences from the Chesapeake Bay region, which, Brigitte, always loved, and she created the original menu, and, it's the presentation of the plates and hopefully prompt and professional service, in a well-maintained environment is what we strive for every day. And we want to exceed our guests' expectations, and, we want them to leave each experience wanting to come back, but also to, return and refer other guests to, Roland Park, Inner Harbor, or our Annapolis locations.
Now, when you were growing up, did you think food was going to be your path?
I mean, they say that I was in a pack and play at the Beef Inn, our family's first deli in Pikesville in the 70s, that I'd stand up in the pack and play lining up the cans on the stockroom shelves. And then at 6 years old, my father was an original tenant at Harbor Place and had the bagel place, and there were 12 locations, and I'd be standing on a milk crate, cashiering in National Place in DC on the weekends with him. And then when my grandparents were catering, a big event, I'd be on the back of a refrigerated truck, helping to decorate, miniature dessert plates. My grandmother on the other side, my late Nana, really was, it was important to her that I do something else. And, if I come back into it, I do. So I've always wanted to teach elementary school, so I taught 5th grade in Baltimore County schools for 5 years. I met my wife, who was also a former 5th grade teacher, after we had both stopped teaching. And then after I taught for 5 years, our sister operation, the Classic Catering people, as you're referring to, has done the food service for the Baltimore Ravens for over 20 years. And the Ravens were transitioning from the old Colts facility in Owings Mills, off Owings Mills Boulevard,
right,
to the Under Armour Performance Center. And, I would drive a truck over for breakfast and set up at the old Colts facility, and then come back and we'd set up for lunch, because it was a very small building. And then I was director of food service at the Ravens' newer facility for 3 years, and we have a kitchen and a dining room that feeds.
That's at Westminster?
No, actually in Owings Mills, about 5 minutes from Classic.
I remember.
But we did.
Owings Mills.
Right, we did actually. I did spend. It was actually the summer that I met Brandy. I did spend several years for 4 weeks for Ravens training camp, driving to Westminster every morning. And coming back late at night, and Brandy actually thought I didn't like her because I'd spent so many hours there for 4 weeks. It was like Classic set up a restaurant for the 4 weeks. So then I transitioned from director of food service at the Ravens back to Miss Shirley's to help my father and Brigitte and the culinary and hospitality team open up across the street to where we are today on Cold Spring, and then to the Inner Harbor in Annapolis.
Well, it keeps growing. Everybody knows. I mean, your father was ahead of the time. Let's face facts. Brunch in the last 5 years, breakfast has become a big thing. Turn on Instagram, when don't you see, breakfast items? And the weekend on stories, it's like, already, I've seen enough. Everybody's going out to brunch, so I think you were right there, but you're doing it with quality products, quality, beautiful plating, food that tastes good. I mean, it's really, it doesn't feel like you're dining when you eat at Miss Shirley's. You're just not having breakfast. Yeah. We have some things coming up. Leapling Day, mm-hmm. Brigitte? No, speak to him. The finger's pointed.
Yeah, we did this 4 years ago. So anybody who has a February 29th birthday can come in for free cakes, whether they prefer pancakes, or specialty pancakes, whether it's raspberry white chocolate, cinnamon Danish, etc., blueberry, fresh strawberries or bananas, or Brigitte's famous crab cake. po' boy. So just have to show valid ID for dine-in only at any of our 3 locations on February 29th.
And that you're born on February 29th.
Yes, you were born on February 29th.
Yeah. On February 28th, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
March 1st, but on the 29th, you get free cake.
Because they only get to celebrate their birthday once every 4 years. So we want to give a shout out to all those loyal guests.
So let me ask you this, Bridget. How do you make a good pancake? I mean, what makes a good pancake?
It's a secret recipe, first off.
Which you're not sharing.
But, once you take that secret recipe and you're actually putting it, on the flat top, is you don't ever want to pat it down. You want to let it get fluffy and rise. And, for me, what makes the best pancake is also pure maple syrup. We serve pure maple syrup at Miss Shirley's.
Grade A or B?
Great day.
A. Grade A. I guess it's a preference also, but, I like whipped butter and maple syrup on pancakes, and either it be blueberry, raspberry, or just plain cakes. I think they're awesome.
And I've always been adamant that when you go to grab pancakes, I like that the fruit's inside and it's also on top. So certainly if our guests prefer it one way, they can do that. But it traditionally comes with any of our toppings inside and on top to add to that flavor.
Well, for some reason, I'm going to go home and want to make pancakes. I keep thinking about it. I love breakfast. It's, as they say, it's your best meal of the day, not to skip it. All right, so we talked about Leapling Day. We have the new spring menu coming out. Yeah,
Wednesday, March 25th. Bridget and our culinary team, along with the help of the hospitality team, have some awesome new menu items coming to each location. Really excited about the crab cake and Utz Old Bay potato chips on a sandwich. So it's a Charm City Be More.
So is this a new item for that menu?
It's another take on a new crab cake sandwich. So we're also doing the Old Bay hot sauce aioli.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then you're going to have the crab chips actually on the sandwich, and then some bib lettuce and red and yellow tomatoes on a potato roll.
That sounds
it's awesome.
so good.
My favorite days of the year are food tastings for the culinary team. Preps all day and lets us see the presentation and the flavors. And then Bridget also has a crabby corn fritter, and we have a new vegan. It's a vegan burger.
It's
or vegetarian. Vegetarian.
It is
burger?
It's vegetarian. It's vegetarian.
Okay. Yeah, we have a new vegetarian burger that's homemade in-house that we're really proud of, that we think is going to sell well to our guests that prefer to eat plant-based.
Yeah, don't want to knock, the Beyond Burger or the Impossible Burger, but, I feel like anything that is, house-made is going to be better than
something that's processed like that, and I agree with you.
And some new fun deviled eggs will be on the menu, too.
Well, I like your deviled eggs with a little lump of crab meat.
Can't go wrong with that.
No, that was perfect, and it was fun reconnecting with you out at BWI when they had like a little preview of the different outlets that we have at BWI Airport, and I definitely like the shrimp and grits.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was outstanding.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. So I also want to say that since you have the Annapolis outlet, that you have Restaurant Week starting in Annapolis on Leapling Day on February 29th. So people can get a breakfast for $12.95 and lunch for $15.95. I want to cover that your hours at the restaurants are 7 to 3 during the weekday, 7:30 to 3:30 on the weekends. And is there anything that I've missed here? I mean, I can rave to people, come on down. You can't go wrong. Anything that you care to share?
No, not at the moment. Just looking forward to the new menu coming out.
Yeah, can I repeat who I heard was just in the restaurant?
Sure.
You said that John Waters was in there.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
Yes, he came in on President's Day, so it was a surprise. No one, I don't think we actually knew, but he actually tried our Nashville hot oyster grilled cheese.
Tell me about that.
Well,
what is that? I mean, that's oysters, hot sauce?
We have a Nashville hot, Nashville hot aioli, pimento cheese, sourdough, all grilled together, put together, and delicious.
Say oysters, I'll follow you anywhere. Well, anything else that you want to wrap up?
Just in case some of the listeners don't know, we have pancake, French toast, and omelet of the month at each location every month of the year. Every once in a while, a pancake may be the same at each location because it's really popular, like our fireworks pancakes with Pop Rocks in July. Or our red velvet pancakes in February. But that's what's kind of fun for our loyal guests to, venture out to each location whenever it's convenient for these specialties of the months. And BWI, too, for the regular traveler or the family vacationing, will also be able to enjoy some different of the months when we open over the summer. And, very...
You're thinking June?
I think we're thinking more July. But construction's, well underway, and we have some great partners in Air Ventures, which is an airport concessionaire that works really hard at 7 or 9 airports around the country. So we think it's going to be a nice partnership.
Okay, we have the 3 different Miss Shirleys, the one on Cold Spring Lane, the one down on Pratt Street, and the one in Annapolis. If you want to see the full menu, and believe me, it is huge, www.missshirleys.com. Everything you want to know about Miss Shirley's is there, and if it isn't there, hopefully we covered it here. I usually go off into some food news, and I'm also going to start another little segment, so you have to bear with me and jump in if you have a comment.
And while you're waiting, if you want to get it delivered to your work or home, you can, through our delivery partners at Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or Postmates, we can deliver those pancakes right to you, Dara.
Wow, thank you. Food news, local. James Beard semifinalists were nominated. Oh, which reminds me, let me say that Brigitte was Chef of the Year through the Restaurant Association of Maryland, and wasn't it Restaurant of the Year as well through the Restaurant Association of Maryland? See, some things come back to me.
Got it.
I skip a beat and I come back. Okay, so James Beard nominees, semifinalists, local, Cindy Wolf for Charleston, woohoo. And
isn't this her 8th year being nominated?
Oh, it's more than that.
Is it more?
I think she's beat Susan Lucci.
Yeah, she likes to make that joke. But I did make a note this year that we're going to send her a nice gift when she wins. So I really think this is the year.
She's got it this year.
It says something that every year they she represents for the city. Also to Clavel for their bar program. And to Ruth Bressler, who some of you might not know, but she's a former Baltimorean. As the restaurateur, she has Pizza Paradiso over in Washington, D.C., but she grew up in Pikesville.
Interesting.
So, you see, you learn something new every day. And that's my food news. I'm starting a new segment. It's where I ate this week. Because sometimes being invited out as a food influencer, it's fun to sort of talk about that. Regional, their second location opened up in the Can Company, and what they do is they focus in on sandwiches from different areas of the country, like a Nashville hot chicken sandwich, a Philly cheesesteak, Maryland crab cake, and then they have this whole beer, wine, and cocktail wall, one of those self-serves, and that's down in the Can Company. So that opened up, and what I tasted, I think my favorite was the Philly cheesesteak. But doesn't mean that the others aren't good. It's just that was my favorite. I was in that mood. Also, I ate at Pierpoint Restaurant. Nancy Longo was here, and Nancy had a special event where she prepared dishes from the old restaurants, and she did a dinner that had like the Pimlico egg roll. I'm checking here that she did a coddy. She did Burke's Steak Diane with the onion ring. She did Hausner's strawberry pie, Silber's chocolate topped cookies. And she has one coming up in March, so if people are interested, you need to reach out to Pierpoint. And let's see, she's going to do Villegi's salt and vodka, something fishy, shrimp chan, Hausner's potato salad, Gampy's Monte Cristo, Mardek's bouillabaisse, Harvey's green spring boursin spread, Golden Arms Mushrooms, Louis Bookstore, Black Bottom Pie. So reach out to Pierpoint. So that's where I ate this week, and hopefully I'll be eating at Miss Shirley's this coming week.
Excellent.
We'll try to get that worked out. So, everyone, this show will always be on J Moore Living Facebook, on jmoreliving.com. It'll be on their page and onto our YouTube channel. We want to thank both Brigitte and David for being here and sharing their valuable time to talk about Miss Shirley's.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
It's fun. We'll have to do it again. I thank you always for watching. If you need to reach me or care to sponsor the show, you can reach me at food@jmoreliving.com. As always, we appreciate you sharing the show through social media. Next week's show will be the executive chef, Jamie Bushman from Roy's Restaurant. We're going to talk about women in the kitchen and the Sante event for the Kidney Foundation that is going to be held down at the Visionary Arts Museum. I'm here every Thursday at 12:30. May your plates always, always remain full.